Good afternoon. My name is Karle Roberts, and I'm the Family Engagement Coordinator here at Compass Charter Schools. I would like to thank you all for attending our afternoon session of our Coaches Corner today. So real quick, for our agenda today, we are going to be talking about how to support a good learning environment. So for you as the learning coaches, how we're going to give you some ideas on that, some organizational tips, and then we will be shutting off our recording to do our discussion and Q&A time. So at Compass Charter Schools, we have 5 core values. Those are achievement, respect, teamwork, integrity, and communication. These serve as our guiding principles for our scholars and our learning coaches and staff. Each month this year, we are recognizing one of our core values, starting last month with achievement, and this month we're focusing on respect and are using the color red to represent it. So for the month of November, scholars and learning coaches are invited to share what respect means to them and how they show it or are being shown it. So we encourage you to wear red to symbolize it. I'm so glad to have you joining with us as we're going to continue to dig deeper into the role of the learning coach and how you can help your scholars at home be more successful. So today's topic is how to create the perfect workspace for your scholar. And this afternoon we have our dynamic intervention duo, Mrs. Kasey Wingate, our Scholar Intervention Coordinator for middle school and high school, and Miss Ashley Daugherty, our Scholar Intervention Coordinator for K through 5. But before I turn it over and let them begin, just a quick reminder, if you do have any questions, please feel free just to go ahead and type them into the chat box. And one of our amazing presenters or myself, we will jump in there and answer them after our quick presentation. So now I'm going to hand it off to Kasey.
Good afternoon, all. I am Kasey Wingate, the Scholar Success Coordinator for middle school and high school scholars. I am going to be discussing ways to support a good learning environment at home. So the first thing you want to do as a learning coach is promote a quiet working environment for your scholar. So ensuring your scholar is working from a distraction-free learning environment, which means games and TV are completely turned off. Phones also should be on silent. However, your scholar should continue to look at his or her phone during breaks in case the teacher is trying to reach him or her. So as we all know, phones especially can be very distracting. So please ensure that your scholar has everything electronic turned off. Of course, not the computer, but everything else needs to be on silent. The second way to promote a quiet working space is to ensure your scholar has his or her own desk, and that they are working out of bed. So promoting a functional workstation allows scholars to focus on work, and working out of bed activates strong work habits. So brain is activated into work mode when he or she is at a desk. And on the other hand, when you're in bed working, it's not a very good way to promote a good learning environment because your brain automatically associates sleep if you're in bed. So make sure your scholar is working out of bed and has his or her own desk. So why is being organized important? The general condition of your living environment affects your personal productivity. Working in a clustered and a messy environment has the ability to keep you distracted and in most cases create negative energy. There are creative ways to keep your place neat and organized while staying productive. Even though your work is done mainly on a computer, your entire workstation should fuel your motivation to be productive. A well-organized workspace has tremendous benefits. It makes you feel in control and clearly focus and define areas that may need proper attention. An organized space can eliminate distractions, positions you for success, and of course save you time and help you stay super productive. So eliminate any clutter that is around your scholar is going to be very important for his or her productivity. Finding neat and simple ways to save space by organizing items will help you keep a tidy workspace and avoid losing them in piles of clutter. So moving on in terms of keeping a organized workstation, first step you need to take is decluttering your space. Empty and get rid of any frivolous thing that adds no value to your scholar's productivity. Take out unnecessary furniture, files, and group items according to their categories. So for example, colors and labels is extremely important for your scholar's workstation. So take the time to label shelves and folders and bins and drawers so your scholar knows exactly where to find things. Your scholar is in charge of his or her productivity, but as the learning coach, it is important to guide and facilitate. So make sure your scholar is in control of his or her workspace, but ensure that you are there to facilitate and monitor. Labeling processes help your scholar put items such as notebooks, pens, and pencils, notes per subject in the right places and reduces the risk of losing important documents. Next tip to create an organized workstation is to declutter and organize the laptop itself. So the content on your scholar's computer or any other electronic device excuse me, also affects the output of his or her work in life. Have your scholar declutter and organize his or her laptop or desktop by deleting folders, pictures, softwares that he or she does not need. Organize his or her work into different folders and use digital sticky notes, those are my favorite, and calendars such as Google Calendar. I use this all the time. I wouldn't be able to function without it. When necessary to help stay productive. Create folders on his or her desktop for the subject your scholar is enrolled in. So all the material in English should be placed in the English folder. All the material for math should be placed in the math folder, so on and so forth. So it's easily accessible and your scholar doesn't have any trouble finding those particular items. Also, your scholar needs to have inspirational reminders to be successful. In order to stay inspired and motivated, your scholar needs reminders around his or her workstation. So you might want to consider putting up an inspirational wall or area to remind him or her of their goals, his or her goals and dreams. It's easy to lose motivation and get distracted by the tons of work that continues to pile up. So during those parent-teacher conferences, excuse me, that you had this week and last week, your teacher had your scholar set some goals. So those goals might be important for your scholar to constantly look at, for example. So it's important for you to print out those goals or write them down so they know exactly what those goals are, those long-term goals are, and be constantly reminded of their aspirations. And I will hand it back on over to Mrs. Roberts.
Thank you so much, Kasey. I really appreciate that. So now before we begin our discussion, I just have a couple quick clicks to turn off our recording, and because normally we don't post those on our recordings, our discussions. So I'm going to pause our recording. That was a great discussion. Thank you so much again, everyone who was able to join us live. And if you're watching this recording, we hope to see you live next time at our Coach's Corner. It'll be held Wednesday, December 6th at 1 p.m. And the topic for that session is going to be help. My scholar wants to connect with other scholars here. And we are hoping again to see you live then. Otherwise, have a great day. Thank you. Bye.